right?
Fulcrum Truth.
Another episode.
Yeah. How you been?
Good, good. Just said about our last fiasco. I mean, we can obviously let the viewers know we had an episode that got lost. The audio track didn't record, so we were very diligent to make sure that our audio system were working on this recording. Hopefully, we won't have any issues.
Yeah, growing pains, and we talked about sometime in the future doing an episode about what it took to set this up and kind of some of the pitfalls we fell into. But I feel like we're in a pretty good place now.
Yeah, I mean, we got the cameras and everything, and like I said, we'll do the episode on our growing pains with it. But we're here now. We're at this point.
Yeah, so today I wanted to talk a little bit about a couple things. First one is the cold plunge, cold shower adventure that we have started in the last couple days. Um, you know, I I was watching that Dr. Huberman guy. He's been on a couple podcasts, Rogan, I think Lex, and I
Yeah,
was actually watching him on a different skate podcast, and he was you know talking up the merits of the cold plunge ice bath kind of routine, and we've been trying that out for a couple days and wanted to get your thoughts on where you are.
well, I mean, we started with I started with the 1 minute, right, and then going into a normal shower. So I just did 1 hour cold shower and then turned the hot water on
One
right
minute,
away.
1 minute. Yeah.
Yeah, and then just warmed up right away, and I had extremely euphoric experience just from that, where my body got goosebumps, and kind of for the entire shower. I like taking long showers, so it was
Yeah.
like in like 20-30 minute shower. I was in there, and it was really like it was easy to meditate. It kind of created a flow in my mind. I was laying in there and just kind of absorbing it. The goosebumps were on me. I was having a physical and a mental kind of a trip. I mean, after the 1 minute for sure.
Yeah, I've done 3 so far. The first one I did only 30 seconds. I survived, and then I changed over to warm, right? And but then yesterday I did a minute, and I got out cold. Just did the 1 minute cold, and then later in the day I took my proper clean myself shower. Um I felt like that was a major difference for me personally.
Yeah. That's what a buddy of mine, Tony, said. Shout out Tony online. My buddy's been talking to me for a long time now, but he said he takes cold baths in the
Yeah.
morning, and that it was important to get out and let your body heat up after it. To let your body kind of rejuvenate from it naturally, rather than putting that warm water in there to get the maximum benefit from it. I don't know, really get less by not doing that, but that's what I went ahead and did for the next couple of days, was doing 1 minute in there and then getting out real quick. And I would agree that like it left me with a much more like lasting physical effect on my body. I had goosebumps when I was in there and heated up with the shower water, but when I got out, it was more invigorating. You know what I mean? It kind of stimulated me more, I would say. For
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I felt like so that second day yesterday, and I want to continue doing this for a couple weeks, and
Mhm.
and we can check back in and see how we're feeling, and what kind of impact we think it had. But my immediate reaction is I felt two effects. One, the physical, like you described, right? I felt my body just energized. Really woke me up, got me feeling like I'm just ready to take on the day. I'm ready to just go do something. I don't want to sit around, be lazy, anything like that, right? So the
Yeah.
physical part, but then there was also a mental shift that occurred. Um, that was very noticeable within just the first 30 seconds or so, um, where I just became more focused. And I felt that effect for several hours afterwards, where I
Yeah.
felt like I was more focused, more mentally prepared for challenges, ready to take things on. And I really liked that. I think
Yeah.
there's something to it. And I mentioned Dr. Huberman, but I know there's a lot of people out there talking about it, but
Yeah, shout
he
out to
was the
Wim
one.
Hof, right? This
Yeah,
guy's like
yeah,
the
Wim
father
Hof,
of a
yeah.
lot of this stuff. I mean, almost everybody's familiar with him. And he goes, I mean, he's climbed Mount Everest literally in underwear, barefoot. So
Yeah.
I mean, this is astounding, right? And for him to learn that mental fortitude against the cold, embrace the cold, use the energy of the cold, but putting his energy against the cold and like discovering, he pushed the science of understanding what the cold does to the body and cold shock
Yeah.
therapy dramatically further than I think ever before because of what he was willing to put his body through and what he believed, right? He believed science was telling him a lot of times, you can't do this will kill you, or the books might read if you do this and this, it'll kill you. And he was going out and testing these things and doing them and learning that it wouldn't, and that there was also these crazy mental and health benefits for it.
Yeah, I'm pretty far away from jumping that far into
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I don't think we're climbing Mount Everest or
Yeah.
anywhere anytime soon.
And yeah, and I encourage everybody to try it. And my experience. So the first two times, 2 nights ago, and then yesterday morning, um, you know, I knew it was gonna be miserable. I knew it. And the first time I did 30 seconds. The second time I did a minute. Um, but even though I knew it was gonna be miserable, I wanted to do it. Okay. This morning when I got up, it was different. I turned the shower on. I got in there, not in the water, but I climbed into the shower stall, and I couldn't do it. I physically could not move myself into the cold water. There was
Yeah.
like a mental block.
Did you test it with your hand?
I did.
Yeah.
Well, I felt it on my feet. I felt
Okay.
it on my toes, and I just said, nope.
This morning, I got to admit, I did the same thing in terms of waking up and realizing it was my off day from working out. Did all my push-ups yesterday, and I decided I laid there and said, you know what? I don't need to do this. It's my off day, and I didn't get out of bed even at all to test it. But we did do it later, I think.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the mental thing. I was like, I don't need to do this, right? And also, I don't want to do this.
Yeah. You want to and you don't want to.
Right.
That's how it works.
Exactly. Right? So I got out. I turned the water off and I got out. I was very close to getting in, and I just decided, no, I'm not ready.
No.
I'm not mentally ready to do this today. There was a big, and actually Huberman described it as a wall, and that's kind of how I felt. Like there was a big wall that I needed to break through, and it took me several hours, but eventually I decided I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna skip it. How I felt afterwards was worth the torture, and I'm gonna put myself through it. So eventually I did, and I set my timer for 1 minute 30 seconds, but I ended up staying in for 2 minutes. And man, just so worth it. So worth it.
It's a programming, right? You gotta train your body to realize the benefits from it. The more we do it, I mean, that goes into any type of reward training system for your mind, right? It's hard to associate the reward that we have with that system of getting in there with that cold water, right? But the more we do it, we'll end up realizing it more and more. It should be easier, right? It'd be like, okay, now this cold water equals the reward afterwards. You know what I mean?
Right. That's actually a good point. That's kind of why I want to do it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and check back in, because I wonder if, as I become conditioned to it, whether I'm going to get the same benefit out of it. Right?
Yeah.
Part of the benefit, I think, may be simply from the, mentally overcoming that wall.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And if the wall is smaller or shorter and I can step over it, I may not reap the same kind of reward afterwards. So I want to see that, consistently after a couple weeks, do I still feel the same way about it, or do I now just feel like this is part of my routine?
What are the diminishing returns of it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean, over time. And it's interesting because you make me think about how we're doing this cold plunge in the morning. We do it for 1 minute. It's this shock therapy early in the morning, but only once. Versus if we were to do it steady in every hour, every other hour throughout the day, the same way we do the push-ups, right? We haven't gone into detail with everybody about how we do our push-up workout yet, but by doing push-ups every hour, we learned that the recovery system in the body was like dramatically changed. The testosterone levels were dramatically changed. These baselines just came up and leveled out all day long because our bodies figured we don't know when we're going to do push-ups. They're going to be happening all day long. You got to be ready to go. So it makes me immediately think, man, we would recognize the diminishing returns and kind of feel the effects of doing that in the mornings over time and what would happen. But also, what would happen if we did cold plunge every 2 hours or every hour throughout the day for 24 hours straight? You know what I mean? What would that? I would imagine that it would have dramatic health benefits that were greater or different in some way than just doing it once in the morning. You know what I mean?
Maybe, and it's possible. Working from home. I mean, it's possible.
I'll say right now. I mean, that's absolutely what I would suggest to you right now. Is like that sounds like a great idea. I think we should try and do. I mean, once we do it in the showers, right? Understand that's where my mind goes. Is like, all right, once we conquer the shower, and it's like, all right, we did this for 2 weeks or a month, and we like this cold bath thing. Go extreme with it and see what put a tub out back and start doing this every. The warmth messes it up though, right? Like, how would you even pull a tank outside for cheap? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it would be expensive. And actually, that's a point that that really kind of turned me on to it. Right, I've heard people talking about cold plunges and cold baths and things like that. But one of the things Huberman was saying was, start with what you've got.
Yeah.
You got a shower, you got cold water. Start there. And, I think he's probably, and maybe we're not getting the full benefit, right? Because he's probably talking about 32, 33 degree water and out of your shower. I don't know what the temperature is, maybe 50, 55 degrees.
I think I saw 45 degrees.
45.
Like guys were doing outside ice baths with 45 degrees.
Yeah. So I don't think we're quite that cold, but it's cold enough.
On a cold day,
I can tell you,
it's cold because the pipes get.
It's cold enough.
Yeah. I was looking up some of the stats on it, and they were saying that residential in the winter time, if it's freezing outside or a little bit above freezing, you can get 45 degree cold water pipes inside temperature. But in the summer, it might get up to about 50. So it depends on it. But it's winter right now, so I'd say we're at least hovering around 50.
Yeah, and it's definitely noticeable to give an effect.
It'll freeze the back of your head.
Yeah, there was a very, very clear effect on the back half of my head. And I think you said the same thing. And I guess, how I would describe it is it felt like, this is going to sound weird, but it felt like my brain was constricting, like it created a gap between my brain and my skull. Whoa. That wasn't there before.
That's interesting.
That's
way to
that's
describe
the way
it.
I would describe it.
I can imagine that.
And then, today I went longer, and I planned to do 1:30. I ended up doing 2 minutes because somewhere around the minute mark, I had a transition. I changed, like my breathing changed, my focus changed. I became calmer. I changed from the kind of like short breaths, like gasping for air, into a more calm, regulated breathing. And that allowed me to continue. And, a couple other things that helped, if you're new to this and want to try it, is I yelled a lot.
Which is surprisingly not that loud because I don't hear you really yell. Do you hear me yell when I was in there?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll be letting it out.
Yeah. Sure. So I yelled a lot. That helps. And then your advice, which I think you were doing from the start, was do something, right? Wash your hair, wash your body. And so as soon as I jumped in, I just started washing my hair with shampoo. And when that was done, I started washing my body. And, it just it made me not think as much about the cold.
Question is though, are we cheating when we're moving?
No, I don't think so.
When I wash my hair, I'm like vigorously washing my hair and washing my body. I'm like, am I like keeping myself warm when I'm supposed to be cooling down? You know what I mean? But it doesn't keep me warm or anything. It's just a lot of movement.
There's no way that your body heats up that fast. And that cold water is pulling heat and energy off you so fast that I think it's more a mental thing, a distraction. You put your focus somewhere else instead of worrying about like, oh my God, this is so cold, I can't stand it. Um, you think about, okay, I need to get some shampoo, I need to put it in my hair, I need to scrub it, I need to rinse it out, right?
Yeah.
You're
I,
thinking about the next step, and
I've,
then before you know it,
yeah.
2 minutes is up.
This morning I told you it
Yeah.
was funny when I got in there and the cap was screwed on. We were almost out of shampoo in the one bottle, so the cap was screwed on. So when I hit my cold water on and I looked over at my shampoo bottle and I already got the water pouring down my body, I'm like, oh man, I gotta unscrew the cap. So I start unscrewing the cap and I'm like shaking, you know what I mean? Gotta dump it in my hand and everything left in the bottle comes out. It's like way more than I need. My whole hand's filled with the Mountain Dew shampoo. And I'm just looking at it like, oh well, put the shampoo bottle back on the edge, threw like a fistful of shampoo in my hair, but I washed my whole body and everything. And it was just like your mind wants to slow down to think about what's happening, but you want to keep moving too. So you're making these snap decisions, and I mean, it's just funny. I would have never put that much shampoo in my hair
No,
if
yeah.
I wasn't freezing cold trying to get through it.
Well, the other thing, I don't know about you, but my motions in there were very jerky,
Yeah.
right? It was
Yeah.
not smooth. It was
Mhm.
very robotic, kind of
Mhm.
like very tense.
Yeah.
My muscles are contracted. Um, yeah, it's interesting. All I can say is that I felt great afterwards. Like
Yeah.
it would all I, it was worth it.
The shock too,
Ultimately, it
right?
was worth it.
That shock that it hits you with. I mean, the euphoria that's felt after a shock like that to your body and central nervous system. I mean, it's remarkable. There's nothing to deny that it's such a powerful feeling afterward. You know what I mean? It's one of
Yeah.
the most powerful. I mean, as far as things that I've done that aren't drugs to get like a euphoric feeling or like an endorphin rush or like a, you know what I mean, some type of reset in your central nervous system. Uh, breathing exercises have come close. You know, they're strong,
Hmm.
but this cold shock is like, I mean, it really shocks you to the core and sends you into overdrive in your mind.
Yeah, I think it would be very hard for anyone to deny that there's not a clear uh, shift in your mental state and your physical condition
Yeah,
afterwards. It's a very stark contrast between when you enter and when you leave.
yeah. And what we say to like anybody listening, right? Don't be uh push through the wall, right? The reward will always be greater than your fear of getting in there. You know what I mean? Like you'll always not regret it. You'll get in there, you'll get out, and you'll be like, oh, thank God I did that. You'll always feel better. So like, do it. You know what I mean? Like push and do it. Don't don't think that like just because the water is really cold and you don't want to get in there that it's not worth it.
Right.
That's what
It's not going to kill you. And if you decide that you don't like the after effects, then, then you don't have to do it again.
Yeah.
But I do encourage everybody to try it. I really do.
I mean, yeah. I would think that people like that. You know, it's adrenaline. There's got to be adrenaline.
Yeah. It's probably not for everyone. I can imagine it's probably not for. We have a little bit different mindset than most people, but
Yeah, probably.
but I do think it would be beneficial for whether
Yeah.
they can do it or not.
Yeah.
And I think it plays into the idea, and we've talked about before. It aligns very much with the Stoic philosophy, Stoicism, right? The enduring suffering, and how it changes you and changes your mentality, changes the way you feel, subjecting yourself to the experience of suffering, whether intentional or unintentional.
Yeah.
Um,
That's what we were saying last. This is a big. I love Zeno and a lot of his different principles. Stoicism is like, close to my heart, you could say, right? But, I met a guy one time who was only 15 years old, and he was homeless before on the street, and he really struggled before. And I told him about another guy who chose to sleep on the floor. I was trying to teach him a lesson. And I was telling him how this guy chose to sleep on the floor for a year to learn about suffering and hoping to gain wisdom from it, all that. And this 15-year-old kid looked right at me and told me, That's not suffering. He says suffering is going to school and thinking you get expelled because you smell so bad. They would have to take a shower. And like voluntary suffering doesn't teach you the same wisdom as involuntary. And this 15-year-old kid had that wisdom at his age over this grown man who had attempted to delve out philosophies and understandings and wisdom and stuff like that, find it. And it was remarkable to think about that there's a big difference between the voluntary and involuntary suffering. And I'm not sure where that leads to exactly. You know what I mean? We can have another podcast about that to talk about it, but it is deep. You know what I mean? There's a difference there, and man, I could talk about it for hours. But the understanding.
Yeah, that's an interesting point
well,
to
one thing
to
I want
talk
to say
about.
real quick is just the understanding that you can learn a lifetime of wisdom or an infinite amount of wisdom in a split second. Like by a loss, like a loss that was unknown, you know what I mean? Like you think everything's okay, and all of a sudden you suffer a loss. That moment, you're filled with wisdom, and that's something that I don't think you can set up voluntarily. You know what I mean? Like can't foresee an accidental loss like that.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that point at some time in the future about the voluntary and involuntary, because that's interesting about how the outcomes, right? We can't all, and we've been relatively blessed not to be in that bad a position.
Yeah,
but
I
there's
would
only
say,
in the circumstances, what can you achieve, right?
yeah,
For me, I have to subject myself to voluntary suffering.
yeah. Well, we've learned about that, right?
Yeah.
It's or at least from what we understand at this point, it's I would say that my enlightenment came through relatively circumstance. Now, probably not. It probably relatively wasn't, but when we look at what was gained from everything, it's like 3 years. I mean, it was other things, I guess, too.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like there was hitting rock bottom was only 3 years long, really, and it was you find comfort down. It's weird, you know what I mean? Like and in terms of uh, what I went through and what I gained, I'll do it all over again in a heartbeat. You know what I mean? Like I don't think many people ever look back on their situations where they suffered and say, oh, I would have given that up for the stuff that I.
Yeah.
Because it usually makes them a better person, makes them who they are, and they're kind of saying, I would rather not be who I am. And who's gonna? I don't think many people.
Yeah. So I think the next couple weeks, I'm gonna force myself to continue doing it. Hopefully tomorrow morning I don't hit that wall again. Hopefully
That's why we're here.
Yeah,
right?
a couple
We talk
days.
about this too. The pushing, having somebody there to push you. You know what I mean? Like there's been times when we encourage each other all the time, and that's a big thing. You know what I mean? For anybody out there that's trying to improve themselves, you know what I mean? They're doing on their own and they're struggling. Get a partner, even if it's somebody you don't even know online or something like that, and you're texting them. It doesn't even matter if you're on the same mindset. Like I would probably say that half of my success in working out and where I'm at now is due to you and encouraging me. You know what I mean? Like if you weren't there, those times when you were like, "Yo, we got push-ups," or "Yo, let's get in the shower," or "Yo, we're doing this." You know what
You
I
want
mean?
to go into push-ups?
Yeah. Let's talk about Let's let everybody know what we do with push-ups.
Well, first I want to thank Dr. Huberman and the things he said, because I've heard other people talk about it, but the kind of the way he put it motivated me to
and
give it
Wim
a
Hof.
try.
Wim Hof for bringing spotlight to cold shock therapy and what we can do with the cold.
Yeah, but he was like so extreme that I just looked at him like, that's cool, but I'm not ever gonna do anything like that.
Yeah.
Where Huberman kind of put it in real terms, kind of like, hey, the average person can do this. Like
maybe I just like Wim because how hardcore.
Yeah. It's like, hey, this is attainable. The benefits are attainable at a lower level than what Wim Hof is doing.
Yeah, just to touch on Wim, like it's cool because his story came from losing his wife. His wife, I believe she committed suicide, and after she committed suicide, he kind of went crazy and was like dove deep into the ice stuff. You know what I mean? And it kind of the mental toughness that he had gained allowed him to push through those human limits of what people thought were possible. You know what I mean? So that's literally ties right back into Zeno, Stoicism, everything. Took that severe loss and wisdom that led him to when all that stuff with the cold.
Yeah, and I mean, even before him, the Tibetan monks and whatnot that put those wet sheets on themselves and dry them with their body heat. Like,
I've never seen that one.
You never seen that?
I've never seen that.
Oh man, we gotta look at that.
All right,
man, they wash their sheets, and then to dry them, they drape them over themselves and meditate. Yeah, up in the mountains, like freezing cold, wet sheets, and I'm sure they're not washing them with hot water.
I mean, the cold does some things to your mind. Yeah. Sure.
You know, like and they've been doing that for, God, I don't know how long, maybe thousands of years. So yeah, we gotta check that out. If you haven't seen that, you gotta look at that.
Right.
But yeah, push-ups, and you know, physical fitness. What you want to like tell a little bit of the backstory, or you want me to on where we started the push-up journey?
Well, okay, so I'll say that, you know, about
fishing
6 months ago, right? I was
it's longer than that.
No, I think once we were
maybe
something like that, 6 to 8 months. We were out fishing, right, and back in the woods on Miss Smith's property, right? God bless Miss Smith, and I was getting in a lot of shape because I had been walking a lot. I shredded down to like 155 pounds or something like that. I was like so skinny. I wasn't eating that much, and I was walking hours and hours, and I was working all day long, just fixing up stuff and clearing woods and stuff. And for some reason, you suggested to me that workout. You you told me a story, right?
Yeah. You were looking for a challenge, a physical challenge. Is kind of like the way that you put it to me. And I said, well, you know, back in the Navy on my first ship, I had this gunner's mate, Sean Conley. Shout out Sean if you ever see this. But you know, he worked for me, and he had washed out of buds. He was trying to be a SEAL, but he fractured his hip, and he just couldn't continue. And so he ended up on my ship, working as a gunner's mate, and he was very, very determined to go back to buds. I don't know if he ever made it. I really don't, know where he was, but he came in one day, and he had decided he wanted to do 100 push-ups an hour for 24 hours. And, I proposed that to you as a goal, knowing full well that Sean, a guy who was perfectly capable of being a Navy SEAL, wasn't able to do it.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I don't know how much he trained or practiced specifically for the task, but it just seemed like a, one of those like very lofty goals that whether you reach it or not, the outcome is still going to be beneficial.
Yeah. I hear you. And those numbers he's talking about, now that I think about it, right? It's like those are like, there's a handful of guys on YouTube that are hitting thousands of numbers, like, you know what I mean? Like daily thousands of push-ups.
I actually haven't seen it.
Well, I mean, Goggins, guys challenging Goggins. I don't know. Shout out David Goggins, hardcore, most hardcore motherfucker in the world. He'll appreciate us saying that. Sorry, we're late enough in the video. But, it's those are high numbers. They're almost
I'll tell you, I haven't looked that hard, but I've not seen a video of someone doing over 1,000 push-ups.
And they ain't doing them legit, right? We always talk about this.
Yeah.
The flat board in the back, straight down, chest touching the ground,
full
basically
90-degree elbows.
Yeah. No, none of this bouncing stuff they're doing. They do so much. Anybody doing those thousands of push-ups I've ever seen are definitely cheating. It's on some weird position.
Yeah, short movements.
It's just not a real good push-up.
Yeah, don't cheat yourself. Do it right. I mean, there's still physical benefits, but you want to call something a push-up, bend your elbows to 90 degrees, get your chest close to the ground.
Yeah, I mean, you guys will get a picture. I'm going to put some videos up of me doing push-ups because we're working on this challenge. But to give you an example, I'm telling Dave, that I'm doing push-ups that are a fist off the ground, and he says that that's a high push-up, and he's going almost already touching the ground. So I mean, just give me an idea where we're at on our push-up technique. We don't skimp on it, because it's not about cheating yourself. You know what I mean? If you're gonna do something, do it right. So anyway, yeah, you tell me about the workout, and I'm all hype on it. And then I started. I mean, I think I did the next day. I woke up and started at like 7 a.m. Did 12 push-ups at 7 a.m. And this is maxing out. I did 12 push-ups at 7 a.m., like 10 at 8, 8 at 9, 6 at 10. This is done. Like, I did like 40 push-ups, maybe, not even 40. That's how weak I was on push-ups. But I was strong. I mean, I could walk miles. I could work my back out all day long. Stamina was outrageous at the time. But muscular and chest-wise, and my strength was so weak, and I realized it. So 40 push-ups maybe on the first day.
Yeah, and so that's a testament to, it doesn't matter where you start.
No.
It really doesn't matter where you start. If you can only do 20 push-ups in a day, start there. You can do it. And they're just such a great exercise.
Yeah.
Like, granted, now I've never aspired to try to do the 100 push-ups an hour for 24 hours. I didn't follow you until maybe a whole month afterwards, before you inspired me to, like, okay, you should do them too.
That's what happened to me when I started doing them, because it's such a weird workout. I mean, I'll explain first. So my growth and my progress was pretty quick. It was insanely quick. I went from doing, I think, 40 the first day. I was going every other day, so I took one day off to heal, and the next day I'll go. So second day I did push-ups, which was the third day, right? I think I did like 60 to 80, right? So it was like 8 sets of 10 over the course of 8 hours, 10 each hour. And then the third time I did push-ups, I was up to like 110 or something like that. And I started to increase my numbers. Once I could do like 10 hours straight, or like 14 hours straight or something of sets, I went up 2 push-ups. So now I'm doing like 12, right? And then now I'm doing 180, 100, 200 push-ups a day. And every week, essentially, every 2 push-up days, I would do like 12, and then 15, and then 18, then 20, then 22, then 23. And since they were spaced out by an hour, and since I was only going up those increments, we're only talking 5%. I mean, 10% on how much I'm changing in my push-ups. You could kind of push through it and get that growth. And then, 30s through the 30s, and then through the 40s. And then, by that time I was here talking to you about doing it, But it went quick, just a matter of months.
Yeah, absolutely. And even just that one single exercise, it's not, it's beneficial, right? For your whole body, right? My chest and arms have gotten bigger, but, within a couple months, I shed 20 pounds. Now, I was dieting too, not, it wasn't just push-ups, but push-ups every hour for, what, a minute? Less.
Yeah.
So I'm working out.
Then like 20 minutes.
20 minutes a day, less, 15 minutes a day.
Yeah.
3 days a week, and I lost 20 pounds.
Yeah.
With dieting.
Yeah. Well, and I think it has something to do with our hormones, right? So we were talking about how, because
it like kickstarts your metabolism.
Yeah. I mean, and I'll be candid. You know what I mean? Like, prior to doing those push-ups, right? I had basically focused on work for the past 2 years, right? I had almost sworn off women. I was so, you know what I mean? In the past, been through some things, and I had kind of sworn off women. I had buried myself into work, and my testosterone, whatever, not working out physically, just sitting around doing work in front of a computer all day long, stuff like that. I was suffering physically. And then when I started doing that push-up workout, I mean, it was like taking steroids. It really changed everything. I mean, my body, we've talked about how if a person wants to work out at 6 p.m. every night for an hour and a half or something like that, right, their body's going to get into a rhythm where it's saving up all its energy and all its hormone tests and everything, all its explosive power. It knows that at 6 o'clock, at night, we're getting ready to go work out. And if you get your body programmed like that, it's going to go through that rhythm throughout the day. But what we did was we said to our body, hey, we're going to work out every single hour on the hour all day long. right? And you need to be ready to go because we might do it in a half hour, we might miss an hour, and then we're trying to make up 2 hours. And I think by doing that, it really spiked our testing, spiked all our hormones, spiked all the body's energy levels for the day and everything like that, so that throughout the whole day we had this high baseline, And I mean, it was dramatic to me. And like I was saying, without dating for so long, by doing this workout, I felt a dramatic change in my attraction to the opposite sex.
Yeah, and really the great thing about it is there's hardly any place that you can't do push-ups. I've done push-ups in parking lots. I've done push-ups in the supermarket, in Walmart,
at the dump,
at the dump, at Home Depot, at IKEA. Right? It doesn't matter. It's a minute.
And everybody loves push-ups.
And when people see you doing it, it puts a smile on their face. Actually, it's like, wow.
Never got a negative reaction. Ever
never.
To doing push-ups in the middle of some crazy place. You know what I mean?
It's like, wow.
Your boss
it's like they look at you. You get a look like, wow. I wish I was that motivated.
Yeah, and your boss isn't going to mind. I'll tell you what. I heard from this guy half a dozen times. He told other people 3 or 4 times about how when I had begun working with him at one. I'm working, doing construction with him. We're doing home renovations, you know what I mean? And every hour, I'm jumping down to do push-ups. We take a break to go on lunch. I'm jumping down to do push-ups. We're on a 15-minute break. I'm doing push-ups. And so he's telling everybody and telling me, he's like, man, I've never seen that before. You're crazy. He's like, it's the greatest first impression ever, you know what I mean? I'm like, I guess so. I mean, it's kind of crazy. Yeah. Like, the work ain't hard enough. I need to do push-ups.
And besides the physical benefit, there's a mental benefit to it as well. I mean, obviously, physical exercise has long been known to be a mood lifter and a mental health boost. And you really feel it. If you don't have to. I guess my point is you don't have to get locked into this mentality of, I've got to do a 45-minute workout at the gym, which requires me to drive to the gym, get all my workout clothes, get set up, work on these machines, shower afterwards, drive home. No, I can do my push-ups. I don't even break a sweat.
Yeah.
Right? And I get my workout in throughout the day, a total of 15 maybe 20 minutes tops throughout the day.
You might not be getting a full body workout like you would get at the gym, right? But you're getting a really good workout, right?
Now, I do recommend some form of cardio,
but
portion of the week.
Your mental benefits and your physiological benefits, right? Your metabolism, all that type of stuff. You're getting 100% of those benefits just as if you were working out for an hour or two at the gym every night.
Pretty much.
The only thing you're not getting is that whole body core workout everywhere. You're getting a core workout, but not, focusing on all the little muscles.
I'm not bulking up, right? I mean, my chest has bulked up, my shoulders have bulked up a little bit, but not like, I'm not like a bodybuilder, any kind of show body, right? I still got my dad bod.
You can also intimidate people who you just got out of jail. A lot of push-ups.
But yeah, I totally recommend for anybody out there thinking about, hey, I want to do something, because I was physically fit for a long time. So were you, right? I was in the Navy, and, exercise is part of the military. And then as I was out of the Navy, it just kind of faded away. And it's I don't want to spend an hour doing all that. It's like that wall getting into the shower. It's like, man, I know there's going to be a benefit, but I just don't want to spend that time.
Yeah.
And so if you feel that way about I'd like to get a little more physically fit, or I'd like to get healthy, just try it. I mean, if you can only do 5 push-ups, do 5 push-ups.
Yeah.
And do it repeatedly. That's the big thing. You got to do it on a regular. If you have to do it every other hour, do it every other hour. And yeah, when I started, I mean, I was doing the same thing, 5 push-ups, and maybe I did it for 5 hours. Yeah. Maybe I did 25, 30 push-ups the first day, but in no time, you're doing.
What are we, 6 months in now?
We've had ups and downs, right? We've had periods where we missed them, and
I thought that when I first started doing these push-ups, I thought 100 push-ups was a lot of push-ups. Like I thought that was like a lot. I had never done 100 push-ups like in a workout or something
Yeah.
like that. And if I ever came close, I'm probably 70s or something. And I'm like, oh my God, like my arms are dead, right? Now I'm up to the personal record is 50 sets, 50%. So I can do 50 push-ups per set.
Yeah.
And I did that for 16 hours straight. That was 800 push-ups in one day. And that was a great workout. And yesterday I did 700 push-ups, which was approaching my, because we had talked about going down and up and everything, but
Yeah.
I'm close to getting back. And
Recovering.
yeah, tomorrow I'm going to go for 50 push-ups in a set. And I feel like that's a really big breakthrough point where if I can get into 55, 60, 65, the rest will all be downhill. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can start to make bigger jumps as you get up into the higher numbers, right? When we were starting, it was like, okay, today I did 5. Next day I'm going to, once I'm comfortable with 5, I'm going to try 6.
Yeah.
Because that's a 20% increase. But
And
when you're at
we
50,
speculated that, right? That it was going to be bigger jumps.
yeah, when you're at 50, going to 55 is really, right, that's only a 10% increase. So it's actually less demanding than changing from 5 to 6.
Yeah.
And so you see those bigger jumps as you go up if you're consistent with it. Now, I usually do only like 10 hours or 12 hours. I know you're still like shooting for the 2400 goal.
Yeah. I like to train at, if I could 16 to 18 hour sets, 16 to 18 sets throughout a day when I'm working out is my goal. That way I can still get 6 to 8 hours of sleep. But it's grueling. I mean, when you get tired in the middle of the day and you want to take a nap, like, because we're older, we're not 20s anymore. If you want to take a nap in the middle of the day because you're exhausted, it's like you want to time it, and you're like, all right, I did my push-ups at 4 p.m. or 3 p.m. I'm gonna hit my push-ups and then go lay down on the couch and go sleep for an hour. So my alarm wakes up, I'll be able to go hit my push-ups, and I still got a 1 hour nap.
The other thing I'll say, we've both experienced it, is like listen to your body.
Yeah.
Right. When we were going hard constantly, steady increases, like every day or every other day we're increasing. We both felt it in our shoulders.
I pulled my chest. Remember?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You even pulled a muscle. Yeah.
Pulled inner part of my pec right here.
Yeah. Like,
which was
listen to your body.
Painful.
Take it at the pace for you. Don't.
Well, what happened though when I did pull that muscle, it was interesting because I talked to you about it and I was like, I don't want to give up the progress. You know what I mean? This could easily put me out for like 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks if I want to let it really heal to the point where I'm not going to strain it or anything worse. And then at one point you mentioned was like, just push through it. Just do it.
Yeah.
Just push through it. I was like, well, Navy SEALs do. I was like, push through it. All right, let's go push through it. And it worked. I mean, the most taxing part of pushing through the strained pec doing push-ups, which, just kept doing push-ups, all right, was mentally the numbers weren't there. So like I couldn't do the numbers I was doing before because of the pain was like exhausting me down or wearing me my energy down or something. And that was more detrimental than the pain was the mental anguish of, oh man, I could only do sets of 38 right now. I was doing sets of 45, what I mean?
That's a good point too. The like the maintenance, like for the periods where maybe you're not right. I travel overseas for work and it's a little bit harder. But honestly, if you can get 2 or 3 sets in on your days, that's enough to maintain. You're not going to get gains by only doing 2 or 3. But if you got to go on vacation or whatever life throws at you, something happens and you're just either not in the headspace or physically just not available for it, you're injured or something, 2 or 3 sets will really maintain what you've done.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, we kind of took it easy through the winter. Took a little time off. And I think I'd done a week without doing any push-ups.
Yeah.
But that was the longest I went. I wouldn't suggest going any longer than that if you're trying to work forward. But it was easy to pull back. I mean, I went from sets of 40 to the next 2 days hit 45s, and now I'll try 50s tomorrow. So getting right back to it,
Yeah. And I want to be clear. I have no like illusions that this is some kind of well-rounded physical workout, right? I'm not. I'm not trying to be a bodybuilder, and I do recommend some sort of cardio as a supplement, and especially probably some sort of leg workout, right?
Yeah.
But if you're trying to get started, it's a way to get that ball rolling without being overly taxing.
Yeah. Well, we already saw it too because we were doing so many push-ups. Like I feel like the front half started building up
Yeah.
so much that it was like, all right. And for everybody to know, we put a pull-up bar out back. So we're trying to do. I mean, as soon as this weather cracks, probably
Yeah.
like next week,
I'm
we'll be
ready.
starting
I'm
again.
ready to get. I've been
Yeah,
itching to get back on
We
the
got
pull-up bar.
dip bars and pull-up bar out back for every other day. So basically, doing off days for the pull-ups to work the back and the backside of shoulders and all the pull muscles and push
Yeah.
muscles. Right? Keep it balanced a little. And then we'll be trying. I mean, I don't know if we set goals yet on what we wanted to do with pull-ups because I have such a high level goal with the push-ups already that I just
Yeah.
want to focus on that and get that done. But I want to start recording that so that we can start. You know what I mean? Start having
Yeah,
that
we can do.
followed,
We
get
definitely
further.
should show some push-up tech.
Haven't found it yet. There's not been the 100 push-ups per hour for 24 hours straight. Get them at
I've seen
great
some people
posture.
do some real good push-ups.
Yeah,
but
not
I've
that
never seen a
number.
video of people doing like 1,000 push-ups. Really good form.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
I want to put
It's-
it up there. I mean, I'm interested. I want to
Yeah.
see what people will respond with because yeah, man, it should be impressive.
and that's the thing. And really, I just want to hammer home the point that this ball got rolling by doing 5 push-ups an hour.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
We got turned on to, all right, let's do pull-ups. Let's do air squats, whatever. And, now in the winter, I've really just mostly been doing push-ups, but once this weather breaks, like I do want to spend more time. And even if I spend more time, it'll still only be an hour,
yeah,
3 days a week, 4 days a week.
Yeah.
Like it's not overly, and it's spread out throughout the day. It's only a couple minutes at a time.
yeah. That's something I am so like disappointed in myself for neglecting my legs after where we
Yeah.
were at. I was doing hundreds of air squats in a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was doing like 800 air squats in a day, and at that point, it's like it takes a long time to get up to that point. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's some insane stamina in the legs and endurance in the legs. I went to that jiu-jitsu and striking class just last week, right? And during the drills for jiu-jitsu, after we were doing push-ups, they had us do air squats. And I
Yeah.
like struggled with like 20 of them. And I was like, man, these
Ah,
dudes do hundreds of these. You know what I mean? And now I'm like struggling with 20 of them. And it's just, I think it has something to do with our age too, right? You know what I mean? We're getting
Yeah.
late 30s and 40. It's like, I feel that whatever we can still make progress really well. But the second that we like go and put down the weights or put down the workout every day, you know what I mean? It's like, it's just it comes to a complete stop real.
Yeah.
So it's even more important for us those guys to keep moving.
Yeah.
Like,
Routine.
gotta do
routine.
it. I wanted to also just touch on the fact that the mental health aspect of the
Yeah.
push-ups, right?
Yeah.
For me, it's especially strong, right? I have mental health issues, depression, stuff like that. And by getting into the rhythms of the push-ups, I know now at this point, we talked about it with the water, how you can build yourself to understand, okay, this cold water equals a reward, Push-ups have become that in my mind now. And like when I bang out a nice set of 50 push-ups, it's impossible not to feel good when you get up. You know what I mean? You get up from that, sit down, look around, and your body's a little bit clearer. A little bit of that feeling like from the cold shock, you know what I mean? But it's this euphoria, like, I just did a really good workout. This is going to benefit me mental health wise, physical, all that stuff. So,
Yeah. Yesterday, I happened to wake up at like 10 to 5, 4:50 in the morning, and I wanted to go back to sleep, and then 5 o'clock hit, and I hadn't fallen back to sleep, and I said, I'm gonna start my push-ups, and I did them, and the first set is always, for me, the first set is always difficult. Then I get into a groove. Then the after lunch ones are usually, a couple sets are a little bit of a struggle, and then you finish strong with a couple in the afternoon.
yeah.
But yeah, it's like I want to do.
And it might sound crazy, right? But yeah, you heard what he said. We, the goal is to wake up and within a minute or two, be on the floor doing push-ups. Like it might sound crazy. 30 seconds after you wake up, fall out of bed and do push-ups. And
it only takes 30 seconds to do them.
yeah, and when you get up from doing that first set of push-ups, it's like you've been up for 2 hours, and your blood's pumping. You ready to go? You got old lady there. You never know what's going to happen.
Combine that with a cold shower, good to go.
Yeah, cold shower and some push-ups, But it's there are. I think it's one of the keys to being successful and happy, right?
Yeah.
As much as it sounds crazy, and people say, "Oh, you could be happy without it," right? It's one of them setting yourself up for it.
Yeah.
Like you want to do all the easy things. Like that kind of bleeds into that whole concept of like there's certain things you can do that don't take talent. You know what I mean? And taking a cold shower in the morning and doing push-ups and stuff like that is going to benefit you so much, and you don't got to be special.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't have to do nothing special. It doesn't cost any money. There's people out there with cold showers that are getting benefits from it, that are complaining about their cold showers. And give them a little different perspective. I mean, I can, if I've been in a position where I was taking cold showers. I have showered with a gallon of water. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was, I mean, it's not really in the, you can look at that perspective. Be like, this is benefit.
Yeah. And I know there, a lot of people are going to say, oh, that's a terrible workout routine. Like, it's going to be bad for your, skeleton. It's you're not going to get, that's not real fitness. I don't care. Man. I don't care. Compared to doing nothing, which is what I was doing.
Yeah.
I am in a world's better shape.
And we're not going to listen.
I'm not trying to be a top 1% athlete, but I'll tell you, like, for a guy my age, I feel stronger than 75-80% of people and more fit.
I had double shoulder surgery.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's something that, we don't talk about that much, but I've had other people comment about how impressive it was to be able to do push-ups like that, those numbers, with double shoulder surgery in the past, right?
Yeah.
And it is, right? If I was just doing workouts in a short period of time over the course of an hour or two, trying to do 600 push-ups in 2 hours or something like that, I might not be able to do it.
Yeah.
That would be a lot more strain than just hitting a 50 set and give myself an hour break.
Yeah.
50 set and then an hour break, right? It allows me to do those numbers without putting that much damage on my body, maybe.
And honestly, like yesterday I did 300. I think 300 push-ups spread out over the course of a day is better than 300 push-ups in an hour.
We talked about the baseline, the higher baseline throughout the day. That's the
training your body to recover quickly and always be ready for whatever gets thrown at it.
Yeah, and it's that goes into the topic of energy levels throughout the day, right? What you're eating and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm a big fan of keto diet. You know what I mean? This understanding of packing on the fats and the proteins into your body and storing them for long-term energy storage, and having your body convert them in there and sugars for you rather than the mainlining those sugars into your bloodstream. That when I did that diet before, I never felt a better baseline energy throughout the day, like no crashes. You know what I mean? When you're eating sugars and you're eating a lot of carbs and stuff like that, you can eat a big meal, have a spike, right, and then be all energetic for an hour or two, and have a crash, and you want to take a nap, and you're lethargic and all that. And those ups and downs throughout the day are just taxing. They're not comfortable. They don't make you happy. They can make you irritable. And by eating that other diet, gave me that baseline energy throughout the day to not have those crashes, which is very much akin to the push-ups going throughout the day and the way we're kind of pumping our body and making it ready throughout the day. Those two diets might go hand in hand really well.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned keto, and although I've done it, I don't actually recommend it.
You do it already.
Well, I know I've done it.
You do it like naturally.
Well, yeah, I know. I just don't like sugar. Dave
doesn't eat a lot of bread, and he doesn't eat a lot of sugar. These are carbs. He doesn't eat a lot of carbs or sugar.
I just don't. I don't like them. But
that's keto diet.
but I don't necessarily think that my body is in ketosis, even though I have forced it into it.
I wouldn't say that, but you're definitely cutting down on
what I would say is like a diet that takes consideration of your blood sugar level is what you need to be thinking about. It doesn't have to be no carb, but you need to think about those sugar levels in your blood. And I'm not a dietitian. This is just my personal experience that when you think about how much sugar you take in, whether it's actual sugar or carbohydrates, right, that get converted to sugars, and how your blood level is, right?
It's crucial.
I don't know the science of it, but I can tell you that having that stable blood sugar level, it makes a huge difference.
Sure. So I mean, we're talking about going in. We're gonna be trying to strip the house of sugar and carbs here coming up, but which is harder for me than it is for you. But in the end, I mean, I think it is going to help with that workout, help with everything throughout. I mean, between the all we gotta do is like I said, up the ante on the cold plunges throughout the day rather than just in the morning.
We'll see. I don't know about that. I might go to 2-a-days on the cold shower, but every hour or every other hour, I don't think I'm going that extreme.
It is a little inconvenient with the drying off and all that type of stuff.
But it does feel good. It does feel good, and push-ups, cold plunges. I highly recommend for everyone.
Yeah.
Try it.
Definitely.
If you don't like it, you don't like it. Move on, but don't dismiss it.
Yeah, leave comments about what you guys do to work out and like what you're doing to kind of maintain that type of mental health progress and maintain your bodies and all that type of stuff. I mean, everybody's doing little things like this, trying themselves better off. You know what I mean?
Right,
If you're not, we suggest you do. And I'm sure there'll be like massive amount of good ideas.
Yeah. All right.
Signing off. We'll talk with you next time.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Thanks. Good talk.